Hello everybody, this is one of my semi-regular looks at Python jobs in the UK. We'll also look at software engineering jobs in general. So let's begin. The market's probably changing as we speak. AI, I'm sure, is becoming a larger part, of which Python is typically quite a feature. So let's just look at the traditional jobs that we often cover on these regular looks at jobs. So we've got minimum 5 years experience as a Python developer, Postgres, MongoDB, Docker, AWS, so all your favorites, university degree, generative AI and NLP fields. What actually is the job? It's data analysis on analyzing public contracting data. So there we go. What's the salary? I believe it's, I think it was, no, they don't show it. I think it was 70,000. Here we go. So there's another one up to 40,000. So in the current financial climate, this is not great. Mid-level developer. I suspect mid-level may actually mean junior, but employers are crafty, and what they do is they give a slightly upgraded job title to soften the blow of not having such a great salary. So typically that would these days be almost a junior developer salary. I think mid-level probably should be more towards 45, 50,000 from what I've seen. Don't don't hold me to that, but so this is a full stack developer job. They mention Python, Node.js, JavaScript, Ruby, Java, and so on. MySQL, Postgres, GraphQL, APIs, collaborating with a team. They mention Scrum, Kanban. If those put you off, I sympathize. Selenium, Cypress, so testing, quality assurance. So yeah, that's pretty much covering the full 2 years experience. So maybe that's reflected in the salary. Previous experience of remote working, if choosing to work remotely. So you see, it's covering it's covering a multitude of languages and roles, you could say. I mean, if you're writing C#, you probably won't want to be messing about with HTML and JavaScript or Ruby, maybe. Yeah, but you might, yeah, you'd probably do front end stuff, but you probably wouldn't want to be tinkering with Ruby and Java. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. So here we go, another one. We've got 50 to 70,000 salary, remote. So we are seeing quite a few remote ones again. There was a trend to go from fully remote back to 1 to 2 days a week at home. I think the pendulum keeps moving backwards and forwards as far as I see it. So I think there probably was a backlash when employers tried to get staff only 1 day a week remote. So yeah, I think it's a bit of a hybrid remote. I think employers probably bend the rules if they get a good candidate. That's what I suspect anyway. London, typically London will be a higher salary, so something that's 50 to 60,000 around the country or remote. If it's in London, then you can see it's instead of 50 to 70, it's 65 to 80. So being in London, as you can see, adds 10 or 15,000 onto these kind of roles. So what's that as a percentage? That's probably about 30 or 40%, isn't it? 50,000 up to 65,000. Yeah. So let's have a look at Python developer. That was one we just saw. Let's have a look at this one. Python developer, C++, API, Rust, crypto mining. That to me just looks like a badly written job spec. It might be an open-ended one, so perhaps they're just trying to attract anybody and everybody, which is fair enough. But crypto mining, The fact that they said crypto rather than Bitcoin, as you probably would guess, is not to my liking. Why is that? Well, you don't. I won't go off on a tangent, but Bitcoin is a digital commodity. Everything else is an unregulated security and subject to future regulations, shall we say. If you want to go and work on a CBDC for a government, then please stop watching now because I really don't like you. But and for those of you who aren't working on a government CBDC, I like you. So let's carry on. I just wanted to show something here. We've got C++ 55 to 65. So there's not a huge benefit to being, because growing up I always thought, oh, C++ is way more, it does look way more difficult than Python when you first get started. So IoT devices, Kotlin, QNX, Android, remote in Cambridge. Anyway, Rust software. I just wanted to just show like another language that I've probably not covered on these videos before. So Rust software engineer. What's it actually doing? Development and delivery of the FIS platform. That's the one thing that does sometimes irritate me on these job specs is they often mention their own in-house software, and it's as if you already know what that is. I guess the person who's written a job spec is just kind of just not seeing it from an outsider's point of view. Here we go, another Python. Let's look at this Python one and go through it. So are you looking to further your skills as a Python developer? The ideal Python developer will have experience taking complex language and processes and making them simple to understand. Web, mobile, web content. Okay. So this involves Fast API, Pandas, Redis, Fargate, Docker, S3, RabbitMQ, AWS Athena. Web app development environment. So that's pretty much backend. That's fair enough. Experience in working with content publishing systems. So that's lead Python developer, and it's in Berlin. So it's Europe plus or minus 10 miles. Fair enough. What if it's Europe plus 10 miles? Presumably it means you're in the sea somewhere. It means you're floating around on a canoe in the Mediterranean. Here's one for you. So I thought this was of interest. Generative AI Research Engineering Lead, SVP, have used, so this is kind of the first part of the description, and they would like you to have used langchain and even contributed to the project. So that's interesting. If you are getting into langchain and you've watched all my videos and you're probably better at it than I am by now, yeah, why not contribute to langchain? Because that is a good feather in your cap if you are going to apply for jobs and you've, even if you made a small contribution, like added a class. I mean, langchain is so massive. If you go on the GitHub repo and look at some of their classes for the framework, you could potentially write something, for instance, for the PAL chain, or you could write a tool or something. So, right, next, data science, senior data engineer, Python, SQL, ETL. GCP does crop up more, which I personally like. I prefer GCP to AWS, but part of that's just cognitive bias because when I tried to study each of them, and AWS charged me a lot of money because I left something running. I just disagree with having to pay. I don't know why they can't just give you like a student sandbox that's free. That really irritates me. But anyway, modern object-oriented language and SQL. Oxford 2 days ago, 80,000. That's quite a lot of money. Here we go. In the realm of digital health, an innovative company is reshaping healthcare delivery by harnessing advanced technology. This visionary entity is enhancing patient experiences and medical practices globally. I think it's important if you are going to work for kind of a fast growing or a small or a startup, it's good that they've got a global market, because if it's just a domestic market, um, domestic economies are very fragile these days due to money printing and corrupt governments. There, I've gone and said it. So, upcoming entry into the US market, US healthcare market, which, yeah, billions and is it probably even trillions that's worth. Um, engage with customers, blah, 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 coordinate, conduct, collaborate. There's lots of C's there. Um, Java, TypeScript, C Sharp, Python, SQL. FHIR, that's kind of a healthcare document information exchange standard. So if you know that, that's good. Relevant infrastructure knowledge, including networking, AWS, Kubernetes, CI/CD, blah, blah. Okay, so yeah, that's a nice one if you can get it. Here we've got, so the UK government, this is Department for Work and Pensions.gov.uk, and yeah, so they want a software developer who can do, let me zoom in, all of these things, and they're going to pay you £30,000 a year. £30,000 is lower than the national average, which would, include people who do worthwhile jobs but very lowly paid jobs, such as cleaning windows or something. So I dare say you could earn more money working in a supermarket as a assistant manager in a supermarket than you could doing all of this. So yeah, good luck to you, UK government. Python software developer, 60 to 80, 50 to 100. So if you're kind of getting towards a senior level in Python, you're going to be earning or looking to get much more, or more, even much more than 50,000. But then again, as you can see, London, and the cost of living in London is possibly twice as much as it is elsewhere. So don't be lured by the high-looking salaries. Here's another one, expiring soon. Embark on a new challenge and join my client and their development team. Python, Django, Flask, SQL, ETL, GitHub. Interview immediately. Not much to see there really, other than they want Django and Flask. If you've used Django or Flask, there's a difference between having used it and having kind of 3 or 4 years experience. And to me, Django is such a monster that, yeah, you need to have spent several years just using Django, I would have assumed. If you're really clever and you can pick it up and be, know it inside out within 6 months, then that's pretty impressive. I was just looking at Node v Django. Obviously, being a Python channel, I should be very pro Django. I'm no fixed opinion really, but there we go. Node, Rust runtime environment written in C. Node.js, this is great performance, full stack development. So great performance versus fast development. I don't think there is any right or wrong answer. It just whatever fits the business, or whatever fits the staff that they've got. Yeah, and I just wanted to just show you, if you're kind of looking for some more inspiration for like a new project, why not have a look at Bolt.fun? I took part in their hackathon, and there's so many free resources, guides, tutorials. There's the community. You can write stuff for Noster, notes and other stuff transmitted by Relay, which is kind of a decentralized version of Twitter, if you like. There's Bitcoin UI kit. So if you're looking for some new inspiration and you don't want to go down the Web3 kind of scammy projects, Web3 is typically Ethereum, and we all know what happened with projects like NFTs. If you saw my videos on NFTs a year or so ago, yeah, that was a genuine attempt at producing them, but it certainly wasn't advocating selling them or buying them. And yeah, buyer beware. WebLN is another interesting thing. That's where you can use, you can do instant payments, micropayments using the WebN over the Lightning Network. Again, what I found was for a lot of these new projects, particularly the layer 2 stuff on top of Bitcoin, you do really need to know JavaScript. So why not add JavaScript and Node.js to your skill set as well as Python? No harm in that. And typically one out of the many cryptocurrencies will eventually triumph, a bit like the old days of VHS versus Betamax and so on. Ultimately, one standard will take over, and Bitcoin is the decentralized. It's the one without any CEO or any manipulation. It's the one which the most value will ultimately pour into, and the others will probably fall by the wayside, especially as many of their investors and founders have pocketed most of the initial, it's called ICO, initial coin offering. So yeah, if you are looking, I mean, obviously you can learn a lot from working on a crypto project, but number one, don't work on a government CBDC of any sort, because that you are a very bad person and you're creating big problems for the rest of us. Don't take the quick hit, no matter how much you need the money. And yeah, Bitcoin. So people say, oh, well, you can't build stuff on top of Bitcoin. Well, that's just not true. So look at the Lightning Network. Look at Bolt, as I just said, build on Bitcoin. Micropayments are going to be how. I'm not predicting the future. Nobody can, but micropayments will offer a huge opportunity to, for instance, streaming, podcasts, anything where you kind of pay by the minute or you can pay by the hour. Yeah, Lightning is going to be amazing. So have a think about whether you really want to just take the money and work on a crypto project, or whether you actually want to work on something that's potentially got an enormous future and is going to be around for a lot longer, particularly something like Cardano or Solana. And yeah, if you wanna feel good getting up in the morning, then I'd recommend working on Bitcoin. Or well, obviously Lightning. There we go. So roundup of the jobs. You can see the salaries probably have crept up since some of my older videos. But just because the salaries have crept up, don't let that mislead you. So has the cost of living. And in this country, what used to cost, what used to cost £1 now costs you £2. A lot of much food and other things, just necessities, have almost doubled, or have doubled in price. So for a job that used to pay 30,000, if you're now seeing something that's 60,000, well, yeah, the value of the money's halved, really. The purchasing power of the money is halved. So there we go. Thanks for watching, and yeah, I'll be back with something else very soon.